there's the
But
similar. Yeah. You guys,
My last time. Next time, my last time.
she used to do
awesome.
we want.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, oh.
My trustee,
Sorry.
my trustee.
So David, which three?
Oh, thank you. Three
I think two incumbents and
You got this thing.
there's Wing. Wing? What's the other incumbent?
Ashby, Judith.
Judith. And I picked the first one.
What's that?
And Suzanne.
I gave you
Yeah.
a vote. It's just the
You
three.
sure can.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing's really changed, which is good. We can just,
Is he in future or is he down here?
we can be further late. I tried talking to him yesterday. He has trouble hearing in the first place, and then
Yeah,
he had trouble speaking because,
yeah, because you're so short of that, yeah,
so that was frustrating.
yeah.
And they're talking to the nurse that was
Yeah,
in the way, and I asked her if they wanted it to start that. Because I'm sure he never been tested for,
oh, one,
oh, one.
yeah,
So I told her.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that these are the ones that don't doctor tells got to, that, because he was one, because
Yeah,
he tells them, anyway.
because they send that what, I mean, that's a blood test that's sent to like, what, North Carolina or something.
Yeah, and I know they did it right in mail.
Oh, they did it there?
Yeah.
Oh,
They used to do it in North Carolina and those places, because then it would go, you would get their adults back, it's like, see regularly going to the church, right?
yeah, yeah,
But now,
yeah,
who knows, yeah, that's what it is.
yeah. Yeah. I haven't heard from
If you want to, I got two of them.
You got two?
Yeah.
That's still not pretty cool.
Is that yours?
That's what I got.
Oh. I thought, yeah, maybe I was just fast when I was not.
Oh,
She's on her way to, it's all good. All right.
She probably forgot to let me know. I'm sorry.
Unless they make it better.
You want to drop me
Oh,
the
okay. Yep.
sheet? Laura's not here today.
Yep.
Evidently, she's on the trip. I did not hear from her. I bet she probably left in a hurry and.
oh, sure.
All right, 6 o'clock. Please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Our Dorset and Felton mission statement: in partnership with communities, the mission of the Dorset and Felton School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. All right. All board members besides Laura is present. Others present tonight, we have Principal Lepard, Principal Villa, Superintendent Tegeson, Tracy Tellefson, Director of Community Ed, and John Jacobson. We have a couple visitors here. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No.
No change to the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Motion by David, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Sandy, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 6-0. Public comments, Beth Phillipson?
5-0.
Pardon me?
5-0.
Oh, 5-0, sorry, thank you. Forgot, we're down Raleigh too. All right, Beth Phillipson's gonna be speaking, so go ahead, Beth, and you can stand just up front there so they can, the video recorder will catch up. And it looks like Kelly Tweeden's speaking with
Like
you.
this side?
Just standing here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's my support. Okay, so good evening, members of the DGF School Board. We wish more DGF members to be present tonight, but in an effort to support the recommendations of the CDC, the Minnesota Department of Health, the Minnesota Department of Education, and the Governor's executive orders, we are submitting a statement to the school board on behalf of DGF members. While we imagine it goes without saying, we would like to formally state that we much prefer our students learning in the building. We know it is best for their education, their mental health, and general well-being. However, there are concerns. DGF conducted a survey to gather members' thoughts, concerns regarding the current pandemic and its impact on our students, staff, and current education model in our district. Not surprisingly, the information gathered reflects what has been said in site council meetings and discussions at staff meetings. A majority of our results showed our members are greatly concerned about the well-being of our students and colleagues, our current learning models, inconsistent communication, and the preparedness of our district. Certain concerns stem from the number of staff members, both certified and non-certified, who are missing work due to COVID-19. Coupled with the substitute shortage, it is an alarming issue causing exponential problems in the day-to-day functioning of our students' education. As a result of this shortage, we are unable to find licensed people to properly cover classrooms. The solutions we are currently using are less than ideal. In addition to putting unlicensed staff in classrooms, our district specialists are pulled to fill these absences. Therefore, some students are not receiving services like special education, Title I, EL, library, music, and Phy-Ed on a regular basis. It is our wish that the district is transparent in the decision-making process of the learning model selected. The Minnesota Department of Education stated each district should have a local incident command team consisting of school board members, bargaining units, staff, students, and families. We want to make sure that all voices are heard via a DGF team, and that current local COVID-19 data is being used when making decisions. DGF is more than willing to share the survey results with administration and the school board upon request. We know that a united approach to handling this pandemic is what is best for our students and the DGF community at large. We would like to have a voice at the table. Respectfully submitted on behalf of DGF members by your DGF Executive Council and Negotiations Team. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to board committee reports. We had negotiations for administration. Do you want to give us a little recap on that, David?
I think we'll probably get the highlights of it. Yeah, it's on the agenda. So I don't know. Basically, looking at the administrative cabinet, is that the right word, Brian? And looking at the contracts, and the idea is to have contracts spanning the next 2 years, and looking at that, take care of those for a couple of years. And we're looking at 4.5% increase. And I think the total dollar amount change is like, they have to,
40-some thousand.
yeah, so it's not a huge dollar amount. Percentage is a little higher, but we looked at area schools, comparative schools, and while we can't be competitive with some of the bigger areas, such as Fergus Falls, Detroit Lakes, we want to be in more depth. We want to be competitive with. We need to be competitive and be able to keep those folks here as long as we can. Consistency. One of the things that we don't have currently in place is assistant principals. So that's something we're noted too, the amount of the workload and the day's work. Those are all factors. Try to keep our folks competitive with the area, really with the market requires.
Thank you. Anybody have any other committee reports?
That was the oversight one, I don't even remember when that was, right? That's 10 days ago or something like that. But
Yeah, we got,
basically, they went over the initial dollar amount for like the new science complex thing. And I forgot or couldn't quite hear everything what they were talking about. We were over, how many, 100,000 or 160, or what was that number?
yeah, but originally it was over 400 and some thousand. And that's been whittled down quite a bit now, where I think it's back to around 100 and some thousand to play with as we get the closer numbers, because a lot of it comes down to prioritization, and I think there was a great discussion about, Jurassic Park, or basically the science area of high school. That's a high priority. It needs to get done as the next thing. That's a big ticket item. But I thought there was a great discussion about the fact that if not now, when? You're not going to come back and do something like that as a standalone project. We can do a gym floor, like especially over at Dilworth, multi-purpose and all that. That can be done very easily separate. We've done it with the carpeting before. We can do it with the tiles. We can do all those things. But you're not going to come and just all of a sudden bring in stuff for a project like that. So tomorrow, or I'll put it in my report, but Wednesday, we got a meeting. It was delayed from last week because of COVID. Imagine that. With Lee and then Matt from Comstock, where, because one of the other items that came out of that was, okay, let's start prioritizing what needs to happen for us to be able to move the grade levels to start the fall. Because not everything's going to get done by the fall, but so what are those essential pieces? And that's going to be a big part of the discussion on Wednesday, is asking all the admin cabinet to bring in. You tell us directly, what do we need to make sure we have, and then let's find out if they can get it all ready.
I think you all received the cost thing too from Brian about what the different costs were. The delay basically again too from the permits from the state, did it. I don't know if they got to do Glendon one or not yet. So
I will report that.
when I kind of asked if we want any political pressure, and we didn't think so. We didn't want to rock the apple cart at this point since they are working towards it. But definitely we will be having some things that won't get done by a year from this fall. So that's where the prioritization has to come in, and which things can we pull off from the cost, and where are we at, and whatever there. So that was a lot of the thing too. And then I don't know, we were supposed to try to get a meeting set up with Excel with regarding power lines over at the Dilworth site to get them moved. Who's going to pay for it? They came up with the initial estimate of 47,000, but we don't know who's going to pay it. Is that accurate to move all of them from the school back to the alleyway to the west? That's the thing. So
that's just the initial, that's just the cost to move them, but you haven't got with them yet.
No, it hasn't got scheduled yet. It's just with the fact that, for now, one of the reasons we had the delay last week's meeting is because one of our key players has a COVID situation themselves at the house. So we basically lost that time period. But yeah, it'll be after Thanksgiving, sometime in December. We just got to, go through the PR piece with it.
I think Brian had asked at the time if I could meet them, that depending on the time from the board's perspective and go from there. So,
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Ronnie.
but I guess everything depends on, what the admin cabinet comes back here this week on what things we're going to have to delay. So just be prepared. It's not all going to get done a year from now.
Yeah. Well, there's not much you can do, and it's being held up at the state level, and I just appreciate everybody's patience. And it is what it is. mean, unfortunately, we're just gonna have to accept what we get done and continue to be flexible during construction. All right, any other board committee reports? All right, go ahead, superintendent report, it's all yours.
So, a few things. The latest I have from our architects is they have the review and comment from the Dilworth did package 2. Haven't heard anything yet on the London did package 2, so they haven't received that back. The time period, typically, they get the list. It typically takes a week to 2 weeks for the architects to sit down and go through everything and respond to all of it. Then that gets sent back. And then MG, Department of Labor, then they go back through it again and send it, they still have it. And so the whole process takes a few weeks. And until we get that one, they can't start the construction of the package 2 until that all gets through, which is frustrating for everybody. So the Dilworth one will be the first of the 2 that they can get working on. I would hope, hopefully we're not going to lose that Christmas break time now when you don't have people in the building. It's sad to have to say it at that point, but we'll know more, I would guess, on Wednesday. We have good news as of today, because Wayne has been working on trying to get so we can do some more course offering second semester. And we will bring this name forward at the December meeting. Kevin Ellenson. So we'll get the CAD going, and I'm excited about that. So it looks like it's going to be a half-time position second semester. Offer up to 3 periods a day, probably 5th, 6th, 7th periods. And it works so they can do the CAD right on there. I would think coming here will love to use the lab because of the models when you're doing CAD work and what else not. So that'll come in December. Part of the reason is we still need to, Wayne and I have been discussing just the fact that we want to update as far as the course offerings, what are the courses specific, and can we get an articulation agreement with Hempstead on some of this, since he's worked with the college, which would be great. So again, we got that, we got the license, we got all this stuff that we have to jump through hoops, but it'll all be in place by the time we get second semester. So that, to me, that was great news that we got that coming.
We have a board member, Amy, over here for recommending, because
It's awesome.
so that's awesome. It'd be great for our kids. Remember Kevin, he graduated with your boys. Kevin Ellingson,
Ellingson? Oh,
he
yeah.
graduated with Brent and Ryan.
I'm going to pass these. These are on the website. What isn't, the part that isn't on the website, we update this every week. And, typically we do it over the weekend. Of course, we track everything. There's no surprises here. I mean, this stuff has been on the website for 2-3 weeks. I get a little frustrated with some of this stuff just from the standpoint that I think we have a process in place. We made changes to our district leadership team structure on purpose. We made sure we had separation of unions from that management and unions. That's right in the statute as far as that separation and inherent managerial rights. And for those who need, again, I brought this up a few different times, but it's statute 179.8.07. That talks about rights and obligations of employers. It's also on page 2 of the master agreement. And so when I came here, we had voting rights of people that were union presidents or past presidents, and again, we have a separation. Whether you're a union member or you're not a union member, you've got a voice. Because we bring people into the leadership teams that way. Site leadership teams, we don't ask, we make sure, actually, we want the hats off. You gotta come in putting kids first, the mission statement of our district. If you can't keep that hat off, you're not gonna be at that team. So, and I'm, as you can tell, I feel strongly about that. I don't think there's shock about that. It also, we're trying to follow our plan. You notice even at the state level, back in the summer when nobody really knew what to expect, 50 per 10,000 seemed like astronomical. It was going to shut down everything. We haven't seen 50 for a long time. We've been beyond that. Been over 100. And if it was that, that stuff has all changed. And that's one of the reasons we look at local data. And when I say we look at the local data, we do this 7 days a week. And it's shared with in our admin cabinet meetings every week. And I would expect, and I know it's going to happen tomorrow because we're meeting with site leadership teams tomorrow, both the 612 and the K5. One thing so on our website right now, we got through 11/20. We try to go out past another week so we can start looking at what to anticipate. If you take a look at our DGF personnel column, the active positive COVID cases, we were at 11 at the end of October. First week of November, 11. Second week on the 13th, 4. As of Friday, 4. As of today, 0. We have about 200 employees, and we have 0 active cases, positive cases currently. And I would hope that all of our leadership, union, non-union, whatever, helps spread that message. That's about as low a positivity rate as you can possibly have. Our positivity rate right now, as you can see for the students, we got 21 for this week. We've had, and you can see where the numbers, our high was back again at the end of October, 27, between all of our total cases positives. We have a lot of quarantining. We know that there's a lot of testing going on, and that automatically puts the 14-day stuff. But again, I'd rather see the quarantine, especially, we had a lot of discussion last night, middle school and high school, about the possibilities of, when you look at those numbers, in particular with the students, and it's easier for us to make that move with distance in the middle school and high school, because they're already in hybrid mode. We're going to have some discussions tomorrow again in the first 5 in particular about the parameters that we have to have in place if and when we have to look at distance at the elementary level, because again, we got the child care. We got some of those things. Some decisions on do you do primary, do you try to keep primary around. But again, if we got the staffing, and so I'm just not buying some of what I hear certain messages about that we can't find staffing, because that is what drives a lot of our decisions. If we don't have the staffing, there's no way we can keep going, and we've made switches sometimes. But again, right now we're in a good point. It's been dropping. It would be very difficult, I think, to tell the public we're going to go distance when our numbers are lower than they were a month ago. So we'll continue to work the problem, so to speak, but I want to make sure people have actual data on this. I think some people get scared about the numbers, and the numbers are good. So we gotta make sure we got accurate information coming out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Brian, have we had any, I know we had spread within the school, none within students?
The,
I mean, it's always hard to
Yeah,
know where someone gets the virus, but
I think the general trend that I could say is, we know we've had spread at the school buildings now, and some of it was over lunches.
yeah.
I know last week we still did not have a spread in the classroom.
Okay.
We had quarantine because of it, but we haven't had a positive case. And as you see the numbers coming down, I can't see that that would have changed if we don't have any active right now. So, you know, sporting events, let's face it, they continue. I know Joe is just, you know, they're going through a situation today in volleyball camp. You know, because, and, you know, at the varsity level, I believe, so that's all shut down. And that happened to be right at the same time going back to when we had the parent night. So, you know, those things are difficult. And if you don't have the information, and it's not like you can scan somebody to find out they're positive and stay away from it. You know, it is what it is. But we know that the positivity rates around the area is very high. We just happen to be in really, really good shape. And I do believe that's because people are making good decisions and following guidelines when they're in the buildings, our adults are. Kayla and Beth, you know, I don't think there's a day in the last 3 weeks that I haven't talked to her. Saturdays, Sundays, I mean, she works her tail off. And she'd be the first one to say, we're going in the right direction. We should not be having scared conversations about distance right now. And that's coming right from the person who gives the recommendations.
Question, when you put that last line on there for the 27th, is that basically like updated each day of that week? Is that what that?
Yeah, but, you know, it depends upon how much is in particular. See, this particular one this week will not get posted onto the website until the weekends. So I'm giving you this just because this is the stuff we look at as we're trying to anticipate, should we be looking into another model? Should we be looking at, and how are we going to handle this? And believe me, these conversations in the leadership teams go on and on about what will it take, how would we do this? And, you know, you got to look at the staffing for transportation, you got to look at the staffing for food service. How are all of those things going to get affected? And how could they influence putting us into a distance model? And that's constant. And there was some great feedback. I know Margot and Joe had sent out to the Bertha 5 committee asking for feedback on the learning model. And there had to be at least 15 responses. It's just what you like to see, you're getting feedback from that SLT. And again, very differing views. You know, we should go in the distance. Oh, we've got to keep the kids here. This is a safe learning environment. You know, so great dialogue until we can get them physically together. And that'll take place tomorrow. So, any other questions about COVID?
Thank you for reactivating. I don't know what I did. I lost track of all my stuff down.
No, it was because I was updating.
Okay.
And actually what happened is, because I didn't know if some of it was going live or not, I just removed some of the rights, and then I just hadn't added them back in for the board members and view access. The good thing about that is then that way, at least each time you know you're going to get an email that you have access and you don't have to go looking for it. And Brooke does a great job on this. You know, again, Brooke was working Saturday and Sunday on this. We're all, you know, I take a look at our lovely, you can see it on the spreadsheet. You can see which ones are visible, who's working on stuff. you know, and when they're working on it. So, enough.
All right, thank you. All right, 7.1, approval of the regular November 9th meeting. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ronnie, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Consent agenda, claims and accounts, Sandy?
$1,369,919.70.
All right, we also have in your packet the treasury report and fund total report, Minnesota liquid asset and account, activities account report, and the resignation of Sony Grant, paraprofessional, effective November 19th this year. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Sandy, is there a second? Second by Amy, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.1, certified seniority list. This is the first reading of the 2020-2021 certified seniority list. Final approval will take place at the January 11th, 2021 school board meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I think we got David here first. Ronnie, will you second?
Sure.
Ronnie will second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.2, this is the fiscal year 21 administrative contracts.
Should be actually the 21 and 22. I
20.
figured on that's in-
Okay, so we'll make a motion, whoever makes the motion, just for
It's a
this.
2-year.
This will be a 2-year FY 21-22. Those were sent out, those contracts were sent out to all via email, so you have a chance to review those. Like David had given a report earlier, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by David, is there a second? Second by Amy, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Did have one question
Oh,
back then.
sorry.
The principals are running 260-day contracts?
Correct.
Because years ago, we never had that.
Yeah, and I think it probably like at one time they did our personal leave days. You know, when you equate it out and you do comparisons on some of the other ones, you'll see some have a 231. If you start taking the vacation days and then the holidays out, it's equating the same way. The daily rate is different when you calculate out going with the 260 versus 231.
It used to be about 220, right?
So I remember 220, 230, something.
Yeah. A lot of them were, when I was principal, I think mine was, I just had to work 225 days. Didn't matter which days.
9.3, this is the confidential contract of Matthew Wolf, next custodian. Do we have a dollar amount here?
Yes, so Tammy and I finally got that. It was today by the time we went through it. So we were at the person that he is replacing was at a little like 2170. So we're recommending starting on 21 even.
Okay, and this is the night, and this is for the night supervisor position.
Correct.
This is replacing Devin.
Yes. Let's see, yeah.
And this is the gentleman that Tammy brought up the last meeting?
Yep.
Okay, all right, we have a motion to approve? Motion by Sandy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by David, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Our next board meeting is Monday, December 14th. It's Sandy's last school board meeting after 16 years. So if you're here, come and we'll have a little cake and wish her well and thank her for all her time. One other thing for board members to note is the MSBA Leadership Conference is now virtual. Well, when I read it, I thought we had to pick a Thursday. It's actually, if we register, it's those 3 Thursdays, but Brian said since we're registering, we will have access to watch those videos at whatever time we choose. So you won't have to like take off work for those 3 Thursday mornings. So I did have Brooke reserve the media center here for January 28th and 29th for superintendent interviews. So that Thursday morning, anybody that will want to get together and put it up on the big screen, we can, certainly do that Thursday morning. But I just wanted to mention, I did have Brooke put everybody, register everybody today, so that's done. So.
What will happen is you get emails, typically what, anything I've registered with them when it's been virtual meetings, you get an email afterwards that the recording is now available.
Okay.
So that makes it.
So it's new, it's just a bummer, it's not in person this year, but I guess I didn't expect anything different the way this year is going, so. But that will be those 3 Thursdays.
Truth and taxation on the 14th too, or do we have to do that?
Yes, we still, hopefully the county has the right location this time.
I didn't look, I got mine in the mail today.
Yeah, ours came in the mail too, I didn't
I'll
look.
have to look at, I gotta look at that when I get home. 'Cause that's been 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
So we'll double check it, that'll be Melinda, Elton, high school meeting. The other thing is for the December meeting, our hope is to be able to have candidates for both the HR position and the business manager position. I was hoping to get some interviews this week, but just some events that have taken place over the last 72 hours, they won't take place until next week. I'll just be making phone calls and trying to set up the next week. And that'll still allow us the time to be able to have it on the agenda.
And our Cindy and Judy have to be on it always.
And Brooke.
And look, that's
Okay, that'd be great.
So we're actually working on redoing some of the job description components. As we've had different people, Brooke's been doing a little bit of everything. So trying to advocate like crazy for her to take a bump up. She's more than qualified. We'll see.
All right. Well, everybody have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. To everybody watching in DGF world, we're thinking of you. Thank you for all that you do for your students. Just a reminder, if there's parents watching today, if you want meals for the extended weekend, you need to let the site principal or site offices know, correct? If you need prepackaged meals, so please do that tonight or tomorrow morning. I think they have a deadline tomorrow, they need to be in. So if you're needing those meals, please let the school know. Also, check in on your neighbors, check in on your kids. If you're not, social and emotional needs are not being met, please let us know at the school if there's anything we can do to help. Take care of each other, and that's it. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanksgiving.
34. Yep, 6:34.